Hunter x Hunter is an amazing anime. On my first watch, I thought it's gonna be another one of those shonen animes, something like DBZ, One Piece, or Naruto. But then it blew my mind away. This anime did not only exceed my expectation, it changed the way I look at shonen genre. And I think this is one of the animes that is a must watch forever. So what makes it so great? So let's dive into it. First off, we meet our protagonist, Gon. He's a small boy who wants to be a hunter. At the first look, you might think that he is our typical shonen protagonist, a simple yet strong boy who wants to fight the evil in the world. But you are wrong.
I promise you I'll pass the exam. The next time you see me, I will be a hunter.
This is the difference between Gon and the rest of the shonen protagonists. Gon is an above average boy with more power than a normal human, but he is often not the strongest person in the room. Gon has lost more fights than every other shonen protagonist combined. He almost loses 50% of his fight, and he doesn't actually get friendship power to suddenly power up and defeat anyone. So that makes him more relatable and divides him from the rest of the group. Well, then we have Killua. He is the anti-hero of the story, something like a Vegeta. He belongs from a family of assassins and has incredible powers. And he quickly becomes friends with Gon. At first, he looks like a one-dimensional character, but as the journey goes on, he learns to accept friendship. We know that he cares for his family, and we learn much about him. And that is great character development we see from him. And then we have Kurapika, whose entire clan was annihilated by a group of criminals. These are extremely likable and relatable protagonists. Over the course of the anime, we see them grow, we see them evolve. None of them remain stagnant or a certain way for the rest of the anime. They change, they develop new relationships with other characters, and they evolve. And that's what makes this a really enjoyable anime, in my opinion. Then we come to the villains. The villains in this anime are actually a deconstruction of typical shonen villains. Well, in typical shonen anime, you're introduced to a villain, a bad guy to be exact, and he is supposed to be the ultimate evil with no redeeming qualities. Hunter x Hunter takes this concept and spins it on its head. First of all, they introduce you to a villain or an antagonist who is extremely evil at the first look, and then the whole series goes on to humanize him, make him relatable, see things from his perspective. At the end of the series, you keep asking yourself, who should I support? The villains of the story or the heroes? And this kind of dilemma really makes for an interesting show. The villains are also very fleshed out, and everyone has extremely good relationships with everybody. Most of the time, Gon doesn't even encounter villains. The whole series goes without him ever seeing a villain or fighting. And the villains also have quite a good relationship with each other. They do not obsess over the protagonist, in this case Gon. Instead, they have interrelated relations. They talk to each other, and the universe looks like a normal place. Instead of being caricatures, they look like characters. And that's what makes an interesting villain. Well, Hunter x Hunter, you never fail to pull up a punch to it. Okay, so the story arcs in Hunter x Hunter are very different from normal story arcs. Okay, so a typical shonen story arc consists of three parts: the beginning, the middle, and the end. So a typical shonen anime starts with introducing you to a new villain at the start of every arc. This is the same as Hunter x Hunter. They introduce you to a new villain, but then they do a complete 180. They go through the middle part where the shonen protagonist has to go through long distance travel or training to beat the antagonist, and at the end the shonen protagonist typically gets in a huge fight against the antagonist and beats him point blank. Here is where the Hunter x Hunter anime completely strays off topic. They never meet your expectations. Always expect the unexpected when watching Hunter x Hunter. Gon probably never even fights many of the antagonists, and whenever he fights, he doesn't always win. Instead, something absolutely out of the blue happens. Major characters die. Every time major characters are killed off and new characters are brought in. Some characters are even sidelined for the rest of the story. And this is what I love about this anime. In any other anime where there would be a big fight, where lasers would go off and people would keep fighting without any meaning, here it's the complete. Well, the animation. What can I say about the animation? It's gorgeous. The backgrounds are detailed, the characters look beautiful. The animation team has worked really hard. This is one of the few series which is consistent throughout the whole season. I mean, the 148 episodes, they put their heart and soul into it, and it shows. The animations look gorgeous, especially in the fight scenes. Well, I will be getting in the details later, but the animation really looks superb. Now, when an animation company starts animating an anime, most of the times they run out of budget really quickly. Well, the first 10 to 15 episodes you seem to see a good anime ratio, but at the end it falls apart. Not in this case. It looks gorgeous throughout the whole series. That brings me to my next topic, the fight scenes. If you watch a shonen anime, it's most probably because you enjoy these fight scenes, because they're amazing. And Hunter x Hunter has some amazing fight scenes. Normal shonen animes use power levels, but Hunter x Hunter uses a completely different technique called nen. Okay, this keeps the fights interesting. Unlike in many other shonen animes where if you have the higher power level you will always win, nen is not like that. You can be defeated even though you have high power level, high nen I mean. And I'm not gonna explain nen in great detail because the anime does it, and that's one of my few problems with it. But the nen usage and fight scenes make it interesting, thought out processes. Instead of just going at each other with your powers and shooting key rays, instead of that they do actual fights with innovative thoughts and fighting skills, which makes the only fault I can find with Hunter x Hunter is that it takes too much time for world building. It takes too much time and the story actually stops to give the world something extra. Well, I know world building is important, but it's not that important that you have to stop the story. And then again, the anime has a really slow start. The first few episodes might make you believe that this is a typical shonen anime, and many people may stop watching because of this. My advice is don't stop and watch till later episodes to actually get the anime and enjoy it.